Good afternoon, MIS 304. This is the first Excel review for reviewing the skill set that we have covered in MIS 204. So if you have had problems with the first Excel review exam, then you will find these videos very helpful for you. Now, in the first, this is a worksheet that will be posted on Blackboard, and it consists of 3 sheets, one named weighted average, one named PMT, and the other is tables and if statement. In the first sheet, we are going to see how can we calculate a weighted average. Now, an average usually is a sum of a set of numbers divided by how many numbers we have. So if I may use this part of the screen and say I have, let's say I want to find out my average on exams. So I have exam 1, I got a 90, and exam 2, I got an 87. And one thing that I want to show you is that I can actually continue the pattern. So instead of typing exam 3 and exam 4, I'm going to highlight what I wrote, exam 1 and exam 2, and drag it down. So Excel will understand, okay, the next would be exam 3, the following is exam 4. So this is a very nice feature when you have to automatically fill a set of numbers with serial values. So let's say the third exam I have a 95, and then the fourth exam I didn't do well, I got a 75, and I want to find out what's my average. So my average would be, as we said, equal to these numbers divided by 4, because we have 4 exams. I can do that, or I can actually write average, use the average function. So I can remember any function start with an equal sign, so it's equal average, and I highlight the 4 numbers and hit enter. So my average on all of them is 86.75. Now the formula is equal to average G15 to G18. These are the range of numbers that I have. If I want to find the minimum value, my lowest, that would be equal to, again, min will find you the lowest number, and again highlight all 4 scores and hit enter. We make sure to stop at exam 4. We shouldn't take the average along. And my highest would be equal to max, and again open parentheses, highlight the numbers of your 4 exams only, and hit enter. So that's how we would calculate the normal average, the minimum, the maximum, and so on. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, here we have a sheet where Simon is trying to decide on which apartment he should rent. And there are 3 apartments. There is 101 Grand Avenue, and there is 337 Metcalfe, and 472 Sharon Road. Now, for you to take any decision where you have different alternatives, to compare the alternatives, you have to list criteria. And these are things that are important for you in making the decision regarding the particular item that you are trying to decide on, or like here, the application, the apartment, and so on. So for Simon, in trying to determine which one he should rent, he came up with a set of criteria and said, rent is important, location, parking, curb appeal, and traffic. how much traffic there is in the street or around the neighborhood. So now I have to, the second thing, I need to rank the importance of these criteria, how important they are. So we say rent is 35% important, location is another 35%, and then parking, curb appeal, and traffic each carry 10%. Now the weights must add up to 100. On the review exam, you had exams, exam 1, 2, 3, and final exam, and each one has a specific weight. So the final exam, I think, carried 40%, and then the rest each carried a 20%. So the weights tell you how important this criteria is in determining or in deciding on an alternative. So if I say rent has 35%, location has 35%, parking 10%, curb 10%, and traffic 10%, I'm going to use these weights to determine which one I should rent, Grand Avenue, Metcalfe, or Sharon. So first, come up with the criteria. Second, prioritize the criteria, say which one is more important for you. And then look at each of the alternatives and rank them on 1 to 5 on each of the criteria. So I have the ranking system here. It says 1 is poor and 5 is great. So highest number that I can give to any alternative is 5, lowest is 1. And I look at Grand Avenue and I ask myself, is the rent great or is it really bad? Maybe it's too high. And we see that I have ranked Grand Avenue 1, which is poor. That means the rent must be very high. But Metcalfe, I say it's below average, and Sharon is about average. Then I come to the location, and Grand Avenue has the best location, definitely because of the high price. Metcalfe is average, and Sharon is average. The parking is poor for Grand Avenue, and it is great for Metcalfe. So it seems they have their own parking facility for Metcalfe, and same thing for Sharon. The curb appeal is great for Grand Avenue. It is good for Metcalfe, and it is average for Sharon. The traffic is poor for Grand Avenue, but it is great for Metcalfe and Sharon. So you look and you see Metcalfe and Sharon are very close. Which one do you really would rent? Grand Avenue, you're not really very sure, except for the location and the curb appeal. They really, or the apartment is really best. So to determine that, you have to calculate the weighted average. So I want to calculate the weighted average. So I'm going to write here weighted average GA, and I'm going to copy this and paste it twice. And to extend to auto fit the column, I go to the edge and I double click. So this one is MC, and this one is SR. Okay, so how do I calculate the weighted average? It is the weight multiplied by the score. Same thing here, the weight multiplied by the score, and the weight multiplied by the score. I look and I see the weights are in cells B8 to B12. So for every single apartment, I have to use the same weights. The weights will not change. So I have to tell Excel this when I'm writing the formula. So for the first weighted average, I say it is equal to the weight multiplied by the score. Now the score we are in C8, in E8, and in G8, but the weights are only in column B. So I have to tell Excel that only use column B for the weights, and that's why I put a $sign before the B. Putting a $sign before the B says fix the B. So I'm saying the weights are in B8, B9, B10, B11, B12. That's what, when you put that $sign, you are telling Excel that the B is fixed. So this will be the formula for the weighted average for the first one. So it is 1 multiplied by 35% would be 0.35. Let's see if we can copy the formula to the rest and see if it is correct. Is 1 multiplied by 10%, 0.1. 5 multiplied by 10% is 0.5. 1 multiplied by 1% is 0.1. Again, 5 multiplied by 35% is 1.75. So it's perfect. Let's see if we can now copy the formula to the rest. So I don't want to repeat again, so I'm going to highlight all of these formulas and I want to copy them and paste them. So I will highlight the first set, hit the Control key, highlight the second set, and hit Control V to paste. So again, to repeat, I highlighted the cells and then hit Control C. Control C, Control plus C is to copy. And then I highlighted these range of cells and then hit the Control key only and highlighted the second set of cells and hit Control V. Control V will paste. So just to write them here, the Control key plus C, the letter C will copy, and Control plus the V, the letter V will paste. And highlight a set of cells plus Control plus highlight again will highlight non-consecutive cells. So highlight the set of cells, hit the Control key, and then highlight the second set of cells. So now I created the weighted average for each of the apartments. I want to find out, again, I mean, like I can see they have certain numbers, but I don't know which one I would choose. I have to calculate a total weighted average. So under the Grand Avenue, I'm going to total, and I'll go to the home and hit the total sign, and it will say, do you want to add from D8 to D12? And I will hit enter. Do the same thing here, or you can copy the formula. So hit Control C as we said, and then highlight this one and hit the Control and highlight this next one and hit Control V to paste. So remember, Control C to copy, and then highlight, hit Control, highlight the second one, and hit Control V after that. So looking at the weighted average, I can see that Sharon Road is actually the best alternative. So Simon should go with Sharon Road. If I want to draw a chart to show how the three apartments compare, I'm going to highlight the criteria and highlight the weights. And click on Insert and a column chart. So I have now comparisons of the rent, the location, parking, curb, traffic. But the one thing that is not really very clear is Series 1, Series 2, Series 3. I don't want to call them Series 1, 2, and 3. I want to call them the apartment names. So I'm going to click inside and say Select Data. And instead of Series 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to click on Edit. And I will say I'm going to choose the series name. Not sure if it actually. So usually you can highlight them, but I think something is wrong with the sheet, but just you can type them if you want. Okay, so now your chart is perfect. It is comparing the 3 apartments, Metcalfe, Grand Avenue, and Sharon Road on all 4 criteria or 5 criteria. And that's all I wanted to show you in that sheet is one, what is a weighted average? And that's when you have a set of criteria or a set of elements that are weighted differently. Their importance are not the same. So on the first exam, we had several exams, exam 1, 2, 3, and the final, and they were not weighted the same. The final had more weight. Again, in this example, we have criteria like rent, location, parking, curb, appeal, and traffic, and they do not weight the same. Rent and location are very important. So we created the weighted average. When we wrote the formula, one thing that I told you about is we know that a weighted average is equal to the weight multiplied by the score. But looking at my weights, I know that for every single apartment, I have to use the same weights. So to fix them, I use the $sign. People may ask, why didn't we put the $sign after the B? Because we have several weights. It's not just one weight that we are using in all calculations. We have several weights, and they all are in B8, B9, B10, B11, B12. What do you see me repeating? That's the word B. They are all in column B. So to tell Excel, fix column B, we put a $sign before the B. we calculated one and then copied it to the rest, and also copied it here and for Sharon Road too. And we said in order to copy and paste, we first, let me move this up. We do a Control-C, highlight the cell, hit a Control-C, and then highlight the rest of the cells where I want to paste by highlighting the first set of cells and hitting Control, and then highlight the second set. Excuse me. If they are not consecutive. Okay. And then we calculated the total, weighted average for each. And we find out that Sharon Road had the best. So, and then we created a column chart by highlighting first the criteria and then the weighted scores for each of the apartments. We found that everything looks fine except for the series, so we clicked inside of the chart and chose select data and changed Series 1, Series 2, Series 3 to the names of the apartments. One last thing that we may want is to add a title to the chart. So we go under Chart Layout and add a chart title and say, call it Apartment. Apartment comparisons. Okay. Now the second sheet is calculation of monthly payment for a loan that is 500,000. I want to borrow 500,000 today, and I want to decide or determine how much will I pay under different interest rates and under different terms in years. One thing you have to remember is that the payment that you will calculate is a monthly payment, which means you have to change the interest rate into a monthly interest rate, and you have to change the years into months. So when I enter here the formula for the PMT, remember any calculation must start with an equal sign. I know I need to use the function PMT, and I open the parentheses, and it tells me where is the rate. Here is the rate, but that's annual, so I have to divide it by 12. And I ask myself, is this the only rate? And the answer is no. I have a set of rates. They all are in column A. So to fix the A, I'm going to put a $sign before the A. And then it asks me for the number of payments, and the number of payments are the years multiplied by 12. And I again ask myself, do I only have one term? And the answer is no, I have a set of terms. They all are in column 6. They are in row 6. So I want to fix the row, so I'm going to put a $sign before the 6. But not before the B, because the B is not fixed. They are in column B, C, D, E, F, G, but they are all in row number 6. So you fix the row. And the last thing is my payment, the amount, my loan, what I will borrow. And since what I will borrow is not my money, I'm going to put a negative and then click inside of the cell that has the loan amount, and I ask myself again, do I have multiple loan amounts? And the answer is no, I only have one loan amount. I have to fix the column and I have to fix the row because I have only one value. So remember, if you have one value for a variable, for an unknown, or for something like the loan amount, I only have one loan amount, you have to fix the column and the row. But when we looked at the interest rate, we found we had several of them. Where are they? They are all in column A. That's why we fixed column A. We looked at the years and we find they are all in row 6. So we fixed the row. And then the loan amount was just 1. So I fixed both the column and the row. And now I'm going to close the parentheses and hit enter. And I have an amount calculated for, if I borrow the 500,000 over 10 years with an interest rate of 4%, I would pay $5,000.62 every year. Now I'm going to copy and drag down and copy. And don't worry about the hashes. All they are saying is I don't have enough space to show the value. So you move at the edge of each column and double click. Move at the edge of each column and double click. So that's all about the PMT. We will continue to have other reviews for other functions, but for now all I want you to know is how do I calculate the monthly pay. The last table, or the last sheet, is a sheet that has name of contestants who are running an Olympic maybe marathon, and they belong to different companies. They have different ages or different birthdays, different gender. They come, as we said, from different companies. The first thing that they ask you is to calculate their age. How much is their age? They have their birthday, but we don't have their age. And to do that, there is a function called date difference. And what it does is it gives you the difference between two dates. So if I want to find out my age, it will be the difference between today's date and my birthday. So if I write equal to date difference, date diff, and I open the parentheses, and the difference is between today and the birthday, and I have to choose how do I want to show the difference. Do I want to show the difference in years, in months? How exactly do I want to show the difference? So if I want it in years, I'm going to put Y between double quotes. I think it should be capital. And that will give you the difference in years. So let's close the parentheses and hit enter. And let's see if I put the B6 first. We can do it manually. Let us do it manually first. So it is equal to today minus the birthday, and it gives you a number of days, so you have to divide it by 365. So this person has 29 years old, is 29 years old. So remember, it is the difference between today's date, and the function to get today's date is today, and the B6 is the birthday. So let us try it one more time with date if. date difference. In the parentheses, and this time we'll put this one, comma, today, comma, years, and get the years truncated. So the date difference truncated does not round up, whereas the difference rounds up. So you see that the age here is 28. So you can use either one, but I would prefer that you use date difference. And now we are going to copy that formula to the rest of the sheet. And I have the different ages for the different contestants. The second thing that they want us to do is to insert a table for that range. So I'm going to highlight the range and I will insert table. And Excel asks me, is your first row headers, table headers? And I agree. And I hit OK. So now I have a table, and I can see that I can do certain things with the list boxes there. So I can sort them by age from smallest to largest. So my youngest person is 25 years and my oldest is 56. I can sort them by company. So I have 3 contestants from AIG. I have some from AT&T, some from Caterpillar, some from Chevron, and so on. And I can sort them by last name. I can also count how many contestants I have by, well, see, one thing is you have a table, one name, I'm going to call it contestants. So I can name my table. And if I want to find out how many contestants I have, I'm going to go under the table design. And I will add a total row, and it says, instead of the word total, you can choose count. And the count is 52. So you have 52 contestants. You have 52 contestants. I can sort them by company and last name. So now, because I have multiple criteria, I'm going to click on data, and instead of sorting A, Z, I'm going to choose the sort button. And here it allows me to choose several criteria to sort by. So I'm going to say sort by company first, and then add another level and sort by last name, and then add a third level and sort by age. So for AIG, I have BRAC, Braveheart, and Ruthhaven. And then for AT&T, I have Ficklum, Lint, Riddle, and so on. I can actually, if I want to see them by age, I'm going to have it by age first and then by last name. So now you see who's youngest in each of the companies. I can show only AIG. So if I'm only interested in AIG, I'm going to show AIG and I have only 3. Let's say I want to find out how many from Chevron are competing this year, and it tells me I have only 6. And their age range from 27 to 55. So these are different things that you can do with tables. So now I want to remove all of the filters. So I'll just click on the filter at the top. And now the last thing is I want to add an if statement that would alert or like identify those people who might need help during the race. So I'm going to create a new column and I call it need help, may or may need help. And if the age of the contestant is above a 48, I will enter inside of the cell need help. So the if statement is a function that you use in order to enter a value in one of the cells. So I have this column, it's an empty column. So I want to identify, as we said, contestants who may need help, and the age for needing help is above 48. So I will write equal to if, and I will open the parentheses, and I'm checking their age. So I'll click inside of the first cell, which is 8, and greater than or equal to 48. I will put a comma and say need help. So what if they are not? They are not above 48. I'm not going to write anything, so I'll put a comma again, open the parentheses, and close the parentheses without entering anything. So let's take a look now at the if. I said the if function starts with an equal sign and then the reserved word if, open the parentheses, and we want to check the age, so we click on the first age and say if the age is greater than or equal to 48, then display inside of the cell in column F need help. Otherwise, leave the cell empty. Let's hit enter, and now everyone who is above 48 has the word need help beside them. See age 54, age 56, then scrolling down, 48, 55, 56, 62, and 58. So that's all for the first review. I want you to go ahead and finish this. You may want to do it yourself without having to watch the video. That would be great. If you need help, you can watch the video and then enter it yourself. Okay, thank you for listening, and see you next week.